This is a video I honestly never thought I would be making. However, I think it's important to cover, especially since not even a month ago, I shouted out this YouTube channel. Let's jump in. Adventure with Purpose is a YouTube channel that became more and more popular through the years here on YouTube. A man named Jared Leisek, I believe I'm pronouncing his last name correctly, but maybe not, is the man who started the channel. He created teams of people to go dive with him and recover cars. And in recovering these cars, a lot of the time they were able to solve cold cases. They've recovered over 20 missing persons cases and solved these missing person cases. Most recently, they were able to help solve the Kylie Rowden case, which is a very popular case that just happened about a month ago. With that being said, the more famous you become, the more people seem to dig into your life and try to discover bad things about you. With that being said, that's exactly what happened as Jared became more and more well-known, or Adventures with a Purpose became more and more well-known. Now I have to explain that Adventure with Purpose was not just Jared. Jared was the person who started it, but as he became bigger and bigger, he had more and more people join him and form these two teams. I want you to understand that the two teams had nothing to do with what Jared is now being accused of. And I say accused of in quotations. The reason I'm going to say that and say it's alleged in quotations is because there are emails, and Jared has said those emails are his statement. And in those emails, he admits to what he has done. We'll get into that in just a second. With that being said, the team members have nothing to do with what Jared did. So I want you to understand that the team members are not at fault for what Jared has done. Jared is a monster that was walking among us, and not only a monster that was walking among us, but a monster that was parading himself among us. He was on all these videos. He was becoming popular. He was on the news. He was everywhere. And he is legitimately a monster. I'm going to throw a trigger warning up here because if the subject of SA, if the subject of R, if the subject of molestation is triggering for you, you may not want to go any further into this video. Just know that those are the things that Jared is being accused of. And maybe click out of this video if those are going to be hard for your mental health. If you want to hear the charges and hear the emails that are confirming from Jared himself the things that he has done, please stay tuned. The way that this has all come out now is that Jared's cousin, yes, his cousin, and his sister have been trying to speak out and make their voices heard. But until he became more famous, people weren't really looking into him. As he became more famous, people started looking into him, and they discovered the cousin and the sister speaking out. I'm not going to try to tell their story. I'm going to read you their story from their words. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and put up their letter, the cousin's letter, on the screen and read it to you. And then I will put up the emails between the cousin and Jared going back and forth and read you what he had to say to her and what she had to say back to him. And I will let you make your decision on how you feel about Jared and the AWP channel moving forward. I just felt a responsibility, since I recommended the channel, to bring you this information. I will keep you posted moving forward with any additional information that I find. I know that charges were pressed against Jared on November 3rd, and I know that Jared will attend a virtual, because he requested a virtual court on November 30th regarding those charges. I also know that his teams have all come out with videos and said that they had no idea about any of this. So keep that in mind, because Jared does say in one of the emails that his team was aware and okay with what he had done. He was lying. His team has come out in all their own statements saying they had no idea he had done any of this. They were unaware, and they will no longer work with him, and they have separated themselves from him. This is the information I have so far, and then I think it's important to hear from the victim herself. I will go ahead now and read you those emails and her statement. This is her statement. Please beware, I had no idea until recently, when I had the unfortunate chance of coming across a video of my childhood Jared Leisek, my cousin. Yes, my own flesh and blood, and I wasn't his only family victim. And honestly, who knows how many others there are out there that aren't a part of our family. Due to his diving group, Adventures with Purpose, this man is regarded as a hero and an angel, and he is invited into people's homes with welcome, loving arms. He has been through the systems, CPS, the Mormon Church, therapies, and so many more, as you'll be able to tell from his writings. But I do know for a fact that he did not start with me, and he did not stop with me either. He at one point, like you will read, did verbally admit to my mother, name redacted, that he had M'd me, obviously skimming over the more horrific parts, like his attempted essing of her daughter directly above her, my grandfather and my grandmother's heads, by the way, and the fact that at the age of 9 to 10 he gave me a yeast infection from R-ing me, and I had no idea, so I had to go through the trauma of my mother and my grandfather finding white stuff in my panties and treating me horribly and questioning me and punishing me for the problem. When he told her, she started to cry, hugged him, and told him that she forgave him. She never turned him into the police, and I never got any form of help or anybody to talk to about it. We went out to go travel with the carnival, which made me unable to be anywhere for more than a week, which meant that I couldn't say anything to anyone. My own mother protected him and never even talked to me about it, other than to tell me she had been redacted, but I'm assuming R'd, and her story was worse than mine. He finally admitted in writing, because he and the family are all very sure that the statutes of limitation have passed, and he's safe, so he can't. But just so you're aware and can keep your daughters safe, be very careful around this man. His business is in Bend, Oregon. So that's her statement, and that's as far as I can read of it. This is going to start the chain of emails between Jared's cousin and Jared, and this is his work. As you can see, AWP's email. The first email is her, the cousin, and then the next one will be Jared. Do you feel better as a person doing things like this? Does this make you feel like less of a child-emming monster parading around in human skin? There's no forgiveness for what you did to me in my home in Utah, Grandma and Grandpa's house in Las Vegas, and right above Grandma and Grandpa's head in their very own truck. The rest of the family is just about as much to blame as you, because they didn't turn you in when they knew better, and I was just a child and did not know better, and yet you're still welcomed at family get-togethers, or like my grandfather's funeral. The while in the parking lot, getting ready to get out of the car and attend, I seen your face and became so violently ill I couldn't even attend. I had to drive down the street to the CVS and watch it all via Zoom. All these people may be calling you a hero and saying that you're doing such great things, but we both know the truth about you, and you're obviously not ashamed of your past. But I also am not ashamed of my past, and I have a voice and I use it as much as I possibly can. Your secrets are not hidden. I am so very sorry for the things that we cannot change. It is unfortunate that the Leisek Juhas lineage experienced the shit that you, I, and many other cousins were brought into. Like yourself, I was once a victim by multiple people both in and out of the family. It is unfortunate when families like ours experience M. Many of us cousins got together to acknowledge what had happened in our youth and made a pact to put an end to it and to protect our children from anything like that ever happening to them. I myself tried to apologize to you and to have an open conversation with you about it to answer any questions you may have. The first time that I apologized to you, I am sorry for the way that it was handled, for I was under the impression that your mother knew and that I felt it was appropriate at the time to have the conversation with both of you. I did not mean to embarrass you or catch you off guard. The second time that I tried was not to clear my own conscience, but to help you heal and help with any struggles you may have been having, as many of us had to learn how to overcome and move forward. You essentially told me to go fuck myself and told me how I had embarrassed you the first time around. I am sorry. My understanding is that other cousins have also tried to have the same conversation with you. We are now all adults, and it is healthy for us to acknowledge and address those unfortunate circumstances from our past in our child and adolescent years. This is still Jared. Well, there is a lot of shit that has happened throughout my own life personally, from abandonment, growing up in foster care, and any other shit along the way. I would not change a thing, for it has made me who I am today. I cannot apologize for others for anything that has happened to you in your life, but I have done my best to acknowledge directly with you my own mistakes. I hold no secrets as to this with my own parents, with Grandma and Grandpa, with your mother, aunt, redacted, and redacted, my own wife, and my children. I have even discussed publicly about my situation and the unfortunate shit that has happened within families. Do we pinpoint it to the Leisek and Juhas lineage, or do we pinpoint it to Mormonism? I do not have an answer. There is no way for me to understand the hatred and resentment that you must have for me over 3 decades later. I heard about your driving into the cemetery a few weeks later. Trust me, had I known that you had a desire to be there and that I was the only reason keeping you away, I would have 100% given up my time to do what I could to avoid the ceremony so that you would feel comfortable and have your time with Grandma and the rest of the family. It is your decision and your choice if you ever want to accept my apology. I have made peace in my life with all things bad, including this situation. If you ever want to discuss, I am always available to have that conversation with you, either in person or over the phone. Sincerely, Jared. This is going to be the cousin and her response to Jared. If you truly want to apologize, then pay for your actions. Walk into a police station with me and confess your actions. Get it on record and have yourself registered as an S offender that you are. My only regret in life was not being as open about you and your abuse to anyone and everyone who would listen like I am now, and turning you into the police like you should have been. I don't understand how you can try and get me to sympathize with you and your past issues. Not at all. It angers me twice as much to know that not only did you know firsthand the torture you were inflicting upon me because you experienced it yourself. That makes you an even bigger monster than I had pictured in my mind. Absolutely disgusting. You're an emotional vampire. I noticed all the therapy terms you used in your message. Typical narcissism at its best. How somebody could ever come to peace with damaging such an innocent human being is beyond me. Proof of a completely broken mind, assuming that there would be any kind of peace after those type of actions, or that peace should even be deserved. You are a P. Do not act like you were not old enough to know what you were doing to me. During the ages that you were, you could have been tried as an adult. At that age, you should have been. And as to the comments about my life and the things that have happened to me, I don't know who or why you're even discussing me with, but I can guarantee you that nobody really knows anything because just like your situation, I've kept my mouth shut until recently, and I don't talk to any of the family despite what others, as you say, cousins, have come to you and said. So be a real man and turn yourself in and pay for your crimes. Or continue to be like the small, sad, mental midget that couldn't keep his libido under control and blames it on his past. This is Jared's response. Unfortunately, your desire to have a 46-year-old male live the mistakes of a 12-year-old simply is not realistic. Thank God we are not forever judged for our actions as youth, and I am grateful that many of us cousins acknowledged and stopped those sins which happened to us and those sins we once committed as a result of our grooming. It is healthy for you to now be open and talk about the past. You, as a full-grown woman in your early 40s, are to be commended for facing and standing up to those actions which happened to you in your past. Spread awareness and stop the cycle, as we cousins within the family have for our own children and grandchildren. Protect your own children and grandchildren as we have to help the world become a better place. We live in a society that acknowledges the mistakes made in the past, accepting those who have proven to change. My life holds no secrets, and everyone in my office feels your pain and has seen this email string, for I don't filter my own emails. They know me for the man I am and not the mistakes of the 12-year-old who learned to recognize the cycle and break the cycle as many of us cousins did. You were younger and not yet ready to accept my apology, and I recognize the steps we made for the future generations to protect them. I hope you can one day find forgiveness and peace. Feel free to have any last words, for I will not respond to further attacks as to my character today based on the actions as a youth. Should you desire a healthy adult conversation as to the past, I'm open to helping you through the acceptance and growth that many of us faced and have dealt with. Please remember that where he says that his team was aware and reading these emails, they were not aware. They've all come out to say that. This just continues the previous email from Jared. If you have not done so already, I may suggest reaching out to Name Redacted and lean on her for guidance as one closer to your age who within the family has gone through this with us. I'm not sure your relationship with Aunt Name Redacted or your mother, but I'd suggest leaning on them as well, for they experienced much of the same in their own youth. Sincerely, Jared. This is the last email thread. It starts with an email from her, the cousin, to Jared, and it's going to end with Jared responding to her. Let's do some math here. I was 9 or 10 when living in Utah, and you forced me to have S with you on my bathroom floor upstairs. You are 6 or so years older than me. That makes you older than 12. In Las Vegas, at Grandma and Grandpa's house, you were living there, and you had your own car, a Volkswagen Beetle, and was driving it when it ran. So please stop making it sound as if you were a young child during the time you were emming me. Maybe you started that young with the others, but as you are not willing to face your wrongdoing in a proper fashion, then that is on you and you alone. Anyone who supports you and your sick, delusional fantasy of forgiving yourself for the pain and suffering you caused and willingly and knowingly caused not only a child, but your own family member. But I do appreciate you admitting it all in writing. Then Jared goes on to reply, "You are welcome. I hope it helps in your healing process." Signed, Jared. I want to jump in really quick and give my opinion and just some other small facts from my research. So I think it's very important as we've gone through these emails to understand the sheer manipulation of his emails. Because I remember the first time that I went through the emails thinking, wow, he's been through a lot. He had a lot happen to him. And then I went, whoa, wait a minute. If he had all of these things happen to him, then he knew better than to do it to somebody else. And not only did he do it to somebody else, he did it to multiple other people. If you had this done to you, there's no way you would want to put somebody else through that pain. And she points that out in her emails. Not only that, but he didn't do this as a child, which he continually tries to make it seem like in his emails. He did this as almost an adult, as an adult. It seems the age is a little questionable there, but he was pretty old doing this. But in his emails, he tries to play it off as if he was a 12-year-old child, and that's just not the case. As she said, maybe when he first started doing this, he was 12, but not when he did it to her. And that's sickening. That's absolutely sickening, and sickening that as she's confronting him, that he's trying to manipulate and twist her memories. So absolutely disgusting. It's also disgusting that he's lying still, lying that the team knows about this, lying to her and trying to twist her memories as to how this happened. In the email, he suggests that she leans on certain family members that have forgiven him. She didn't want to. She had no intention to. Shortly after she sent these emails, they went back and forth. I think she said it was the day after that family member reached out to her to try to guide her to forgive him. No, they didn't try to guide her. They tried to manipulate her to forgive him. That's got to be extremely hard. Her entire family stopped talking to her. I think the sister, Jared's sister, turned on her, and they just stopped talking to her completely, kicked her out. She was no longer part of the family. Jared was the golden child. So the victims of Jared had extremely difficult lives, while Jared, the person who did this to all these people, was regarded as this hero and this wonderful person. I would like you guys to continue to do research and not just take my word for it, or, the research I've done, just take that research, because there are other videos out there showing Jared bullying a company, a small company that was editing videos for him. There is a video of him bullying that company. He wasn't happy with what he was being charged, so he not only sent this video saying, I have more money than you, so don't try to come at me illegally, and also I'm taking one of my favorite editor, and I'm going to hire him into my company, and if you try to go after him, I have more money, and I'll do this and I'll do that, and I'm going to write bad reviews. Like, he was terrible. And there's this video out there that shows it. But there is so much more information than I've provided here that shows how much of a monster he truly is. And I hope that you look into that yourself and make decisions on what you choose to support. But like I said in the beginning, I felt it was my duty to provide information so you can make a more clear decision on whether or not you choose to support AWP moving forward. I will continue to provide more information as it comes out. Wishing you all much kindness and much love. Bye for now.